Hi guys! So today I'm going to make a creamy sausage and collard green soup. It originally was a kale soup. It's a spin-off off of Olive Garden's. When we made it, we decided we liked collard greens in it instead of the kale. So that's what we like instead. So that's what I'm going to use today. We're going to use potatoes. Okay. Just regular russet potatoes. We're using a package of mushrooms. We got the mild Jimmy Dean's breakfast sausage. You can get the hot if you want. It's just that we prefer regular, so that's what we got. Heavy whipping cream. 1 onion. And then you're also going to need, we have 1 can of chicken broth because I'm going to add water and a couple of bouillon cubes to it to help even it out. Or you could just get 1 big box of 32 ounces of the chicken broth. And then, of course, collard greens. Now, like I said, you can do kale with the exact same recipe. We just choose the collard greens, okay? I'm going to need Italian seasoning. This is just Walmart brand. Pepper. Paprika. Plain salt. And onion powder. And this is our homemade onion powder. I just kept the label. Just so I know what it is. But this is our homemade onion powder. Italian sausage. We didn't care for that. So, that is something to keep in mind. Always put into your recipe things you prefer, and, you'll probably like it a lot better, okay? So, first, you're going to start off with browning the sausage. I already have my pan. You're going to put it on medium-high heat, okay? So, I put mine at about a 6.5, and I'm going to let this brown up, and while that's browning, we are actually going to prep the mushroom to be cooking the mushrooms, onions, and sauteing them. Okay, so the next step is you're going to take all the meat out of the pan as I did so. Now you're going to leave the grease because you're going to cook your onions and your mushrooms in that on medium-high heat. So my stove is still on 6.5, okay? And I'm going to basically cook that up until it's like the onions are translucent and pretty much till, they're done. A good thing to do right now is to prep your kale or your collard greens for us. Now, I cut ours into pieces just to make it easier because I washed them and I cut mine up anyway at the end. But some, so basically what you're going to do is you're going to take it and you are going to hold it. And this is just to get the leafy part. You're trying to take this main stem out. You hold it and then you just slide your hand down. And sometimes that happens. You slide your hand down it and then you get them into bits. And then you can roughly shred them apart, which is usually what I do. And then and then also a good thing to do right now is prep your potatoes. And I'm going to use my slicer. I did happen to see these when I was at the store the other day. Walmart had some of them in their cooking section. So I don't think it's as big as this one, and I think it's a little bit smaller. But if you're looking for a slicer, I did see some at the store for right now. So, if you want one or looking for one, look and see if you can find it. If not, you can always use your food processor. That works too. But, use what you have. You don't necessarily have to buy anything new. Just use what you have, okay? Or, if someone doesn't want any, a good resource I find some good stuff is maybe like Goodwill, antique shops, or even Facebook Marketplace of people moving, like garage sales, real estate sales, like people moving, and they're not going to need, that cookware anymore, and they're trying to get rid of. That's always a good place to find used cook stuff. Okay, so I use my slicer to cut up the potatoes into thin slices. That way they cook a little faster. And then I have my collard greens all chopped up kind of rough. So basically I added the sausage. I added the sausage back into the pan with the onions and the mushrooms now that they're done cooking. So I added the sausage in. I put the chicken broth. And I use low sodium. And then I also put a couple of bouillon cubes and added some water because you want your liquid at this point to basically cover your potatoes. That way they're going to cook. So you're going to take it and you're going to add your potatoes in. Now I try to separate them out so they don't stick together so much. Add all that in and then so I turned mine up to high. Like I said, I did bring these up to a boil to let the potatoes boil real good and to get them cooked. And then once those are cooked, you're going to take the heat and you're going to turn it back down to medium. And then you're going to let it simmer for, I don't know, another 10, maybe 20 minutes. And you basically just want to let the potatoes finish cooking. Now, like I said, I sliced mine pretty thin, so my potatoes cook relatively quickly. If you do cubes, they're of course going to take much longer. Okay, so you can see the potatoes are just covered with the broth and the water mixture, which basically just makes extra broth. And I did mix it up so that way the mushrooms and the onions and the sausage wouldn't be on the bottom. Mix it up a little bit. Now I'm going to let this boil, and then once it's boiling, I'm going to cover it and let it simmer for probably another 10-15 minutes. And one thing I also did not add is when you're doing your onions and your mushrooms, you can also do garlic. I didn't do garlic today, but I am going to add some garlic powder in there and do it that way. Okay, so for the broth, I just wanted to specify I used 33% less sodium, and this is the 14 by 0.5 ounce can. And then I threw 2 chicken bouillon cubes in there, and then I did like another 32 ounces of water just on top of that. And so it did exactly what I needed. And for the potatoes, I had 5 smaller potatoes and then 1 like kind of large potato. And it is really potato-y, so if you don't want that many potatoes in yours, you don't have to use that many, but that's what I'm using. It's been about 10 minutes. My potatoes are done cooking. So now this is when you're going to add all the rest of the ingredients. So your kale, in our case, the collard greens. So we're going to add all these in. Okay. Heavy whipping cream. And you can pour as much as you like. I pour probably about a half a cup to a cup. Just kind of depending. You want it to be kind of light in color. And I'll show you what that color looks like in just a second. Alright, like I said, we're going to put garlic powder. Because we love garlic here. I don't know about y'all. Made onion powder. Pepper. A little bit of paprika. Italian seasoning. And of course, a little bit of salt, okay? So let's mix this all together. For the kale, or for say the collard greens, you're gonna cook this on simmer, so you're gonna turn it down to low, and you're gonna let this simmer, okay, for probably 5 to 10 minutes. Now, if you want your collard greens or your kale to be more of a kind of crunchy, you need to cook them less. If you want them to be really soft, then you need to cook it more, okay? Keep in mind that kale is much harder and much sturdier than collard greens. The ones we got were a little bit on the softer side. They weren't like fresh. They weren't as ripe, I would say. So they are a little bit softer to the touch, so they don't need as long of cooking. But this is ideally the color you should have. Okay, so it's all cooled off and ready for us to try. You have, and like I said, this is going to cook on simmer for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then once that gets done, you can let it cool and eat it, okay? Okay, so here's what it looks like all done and cooled off, and I'm going to try it for y'all. It's good. I think it's a little bit better than the last time I made it. I make it at least every 2 weeks, okay? I did add a little bit of butter at the end just to give it a little bit of extra, like maybe a tablespoon. It wasn't a lot. It did make it a little bit better. I asked my significant other, because it's for him, how he liked it. He said he likes it and he thought it was better than the last one. So, but I did steal the video from a YouTuber, and her YouTube channel is called Pleasant Peasant Media, okay? I'll link her video below if you want to watch her video. I also will have typed out instructions of how I did everything, and a list of all the ingredients and everything, just to make it easier. And as always, like, subscribe, go try the recipes of course. Go try recipes, and y'all have a good one, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.